there's a lot happening today, John, especially at the White House, huh?
Oh, yes. Former President Barack Obama back at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He'll join President Biden and Vice President Harris as they announce an expansion to the Affordable Care Act. It is the former president's first time back to the White House since leaving in 2007. It's been 12 years since he signed Obamacare into law as well. And here's what Jen Psaki had to say in anticipation of today's trip.
I'll also note, as they did every week when former President Obama was president and President Biden was vice president, that's a mouthful, they will have lunch tomorrow as well, as they used to do on a weekly basis. I would note they continue to talk regularly. They are real friends, not just Washington friends.
Ouch, Bianca. Washington friends? Not just Washington friends?
It's a mouthful. Maybe, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but a little bit of, because she knows what she's spinning there, maybe doesn't feel that comfortable. You know, they live near each other. They rarely see each other. I'm guessing that this is something much more linked to the November elections, John, and I don't think you would disagree.
No, I'm sure that, and also, it's usually about Barack Obama. When it benefits Barack Obama, he comes out of the woodwork, and this is a celebration of him and his health care law. But I wonder about the optics of this, Bianca, because, does anyone really think health care has gotten better? I know it's there and more people might have access to it, but do you feel like your health care is better than it was before Obamacare? I think that's an open question. And obviously, too, we can't forget when President Obama was in the White House, that was the last time we saw Russia slicing off portions of Ukraine and taking it for himself. So we have that coming back again. So some reminders about the bad old days of the Obama administration while he's back in the White House during the bad old days of the Biden administration.
Not just healthcare is worse. It seems like everything for Americans has gotten a lot worse, including those gas prices. And, it was just astonishing yesterday. They still tried to sell it, though, that the truckers are their friends. Yesterday, President Biden rolled up those 18-wheelers outside the White House, talking about an employment boost in the trucking industry. And, John, he was thanking the truckers for keeping the economy going, which they truly are. They are the backbone. We know this. But he said he wished he could drive one of those suckers again. So Biden's still out there talking about being a truck driver, and we were all shaking our heads. He tells this bizarre story, about meeting his first female truck driver named Big Mama. Let's listen again.
And the only woman truck driver I ever knew I met that day, she said, "This is Big Mama, no room." Swear to God, true story. Swear to God. He said, "I've got a United States Senator driving my truck." She said, "I got the damn president in mind, so what?" I'll never forget that.
Swear to God. When Joe Biden says those types of things, corn pop, that conductor on the Amtrak train that didn't really exist, there are a lot of these stories, Bianca. And of course, people laugh. But just pull some trucks on the White House lawn and tell everybody it's going to be okay, and you're just going to have to deal with the high gas prices. That's basically what yesterday was.
It's pretty bad, too, when Snopes is even saying it's false. So even the fact checkers.
Well, the fact checkers. No. Who asked you, fact checkers?
Exactly. Well, for more on this and more on what's happening, of course, at the White House, we want to go to Newsmax Chief White House Correspondent James Rosen with more on Obama's visit today. Good afternoon, James.
Bianca and John, a good afternoon to you. Hard to believe, but more than 12 years have passed since the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, was signed into law. Today, the 44th president will visit with the 46th, his former vice president, to mark the fact that under the Biden administration, a record high 14.5 million Americans have enrolled in Obamacare, in part thanks to moves last year by the states of Missouri and Oklahoma to expand Medicaid. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, a veteran of both administrations, said yesterday she's known both men for some time, and as we just saw her say, they are, as Psaki put it, real friends, not just Washington friends, unquote.
They talk on the phone. They do that on a regular basis. I'm not going to give you the number of times they've had conversations, but I would note they consult on a range of issues, but also about their families and things happening in their personal lives. And, it's not a relationship of obligation. It's one where they developed a deep and close friendship through the course of their time serving together, and that has continued.
Under an executive order President Biden is signing today and new proposed rules from the Treasury Department, the White House says an additional 200,000 uninsured Americans will gain health care coverage. Bianca and John.
And James, of course, the visit is being framed, as we've said, as a policy event, but it is an election year. Do you think the White House is thinking this will definitely have some political benefit come November?
they sure have to hope as much, with President Biden's job approval ratings mired in the high 30s to low 40s underwater since last August. Democrats are also said to be suffering an enthusiasm deficit as we head into the midterms. So this appearance alongside the former president heralds the first of many that Mr. Obama will make this year as part of an effort to reinvigorate African-American support for the incumbent at a time, we should note, when many black voters believe that Mr. Biden has failed to deliver on some key campaign promises he made to that community. Bianca.
All right, James Rosen live at the White House. We'll be checking back in with you throughout the day with this return of Obama. Thanks, James.